Happy Indulgence, and I'm here today for my May wrap-up. I'll be talking about the 8 books that I read. There was one that I DNF'd, and I also read one comic, and a bit about what happened during May. Oh my gosh guys, it was such a busy month, but also a really awesome bookish month. I went to about 4 different book events. First I flew to Melbourne to see Patrick Ness and meet a lot of bookworms. Then I had my Love Ya panel, and I'll leave a link to my blog up above. And then it was the Jay Kristoff Lifelike launch, which I had the pleasure of launching for him. And then the next day after that was the name of the book club. So I'm a bit exhausted now, and I'm looking forward to going back into routine and just chilling out and reading my books. But yeah, I loved hanging out with you bookworms. It was amazing hanging out with you guys, chatting about books, just meeting and fangirling, and yeah, I really look forward to what the rest of the year can bring, because guys, it's been so awesome. And obviously I vlogged a lot of these events, so I'll leave a link to my vlog down below. I didn't read as much as I usually do, only because I was so busy, and I mean there was a few weeks in between when I was preparing for the Lifelike launch, when I think I only read Lifelike for that week. So as usual with all my wrap-ups, I'll be talking about the books I love the most and the books that I love the least, and yeah, I hope you guys stick around to watch it. So the first book that I picked up is Fence Volume 1, and this is by CS Pacat. I actually bought this in Melbourne when I was there, and I'm absolutely stoked that it's a bound volume, because I looked on Book Depository and it looked like this wasn't being released until June or July, so I was really stoked. So basically Fence is a graphic novel about fencing, if you didn't pick that up from the picture or the title, but it's about this guy who wants to defeat his competitor called Seiji, and basically he's not very good at fencing, so it's going to be a hard slog for him. But I love the artwork, I love the writing, it's so snappy, it's so humorous. I immediately fell in love with Nicholas, who is the main character, and Seiji's like an arrogant prick, so you really want to see him being defeated. I also love the diversity in here. There's like a gender fluid character in here, there's a bisexual as well. It's really great just to see these identities integrated as part of the story. So I gave Fence 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. The next books I picked up is Every Word by Ellie Marney and Every Breath by Ellie Marney. I keep on forgetting which one is the first one in the series because the titles are so similar. So basically Ellie Marney was the headline author at the Love Ya event that I got to attend, and I wanted to read some of her books before I saw her and met her. So these are actually signed copies as well. So I'm super excited about that one. So there's also one last book, which is Every Move, which I'll be reading shortly. So I really enjoyed these series, like the chemistry between Mycroft, who's like a super awkward genius, and then Rachel, and she's just got this really quiet intelligence about her, and together they work together to solve murders and solve crimes, and the teenagers as well. So one book is set in London, I'm guessing that's this one because of the Big Ben, and one book is set in Melbourne, and it's just really great seeing them work together. There's so much sexy banter, so much chemistry. It was really fast paced, and I just really wanted to keep reading. So I gave both of these books 4 stars. I really enjoyed these thrillers, even though they're a bit older as well. They're not recently published, but if you like that sort of thing, it's a great Aussie YA series to check out. The next book I'm going to talk about is Lifelike by Jay Kristoff, and this is the ARC edition. So I think the finished copy has like metallic silver instead of this sort of matte glossy color. But anyway, Lifelike is about AI, and it's set in like this junkyard heap in the far future where there's all different types of AI. There's like there's androids, there's lifelikes who are a lot like humans, there's Logica who like have a mind of their own but they still listen to instructions, there's automatons. There's so many different AI that it kept me really interested, because all these robots are built to serve a purpose, except for lifelikes who are superhuman-like. So I'm not going to go into the plot too much because it can get quite complicated, But I really like the friendship between Eve and Lemon Fresh. They have a really supportive female friendship, a lot of great banter as well. The only problem I had with Lifelike, firstly, it was a bit difficult to get into because of the slang that's used. I've read almost all of Jay Kristoff's books now, and he uses a lot of slang and difficult language, not to only portray the world, but to talk about the characters and without describing it too much. So there is a lot of heavy slang in here to get into. I also really struggled with the ableism that is in here because one of the characters refers to another one as Stumpy, and he actually has no arms, so that actually persists throughout the book as well. But the things I did like about it definitely outweighed that. I loved the twists and turns. I loved Eve and finding out like her origin story. It was really awesome seeing her discover things about herself. She has this power where she can pretty much like melt robots and electrocute them, so that was really cool. Seeing her fend for herself, and like it was just a really fascinating read, and it was definitely well crafted and really intricate. So in the end, I'm kind of hovering between a 3.5 star to a 4 star. After talking with Jay at our book club a bit about where the series is heading, I could see a lot more connections that he was trying to form as well, so I think I'll sit on about 4 stars for this one. The next book I read is Leah on the Offbeat, and this is by Becky Albertalli. This is the sequel to Love, Simon, but it's told from Leah's point of view, which is obviously his best friend. I think it had great representation. Leah is like a sarcastic character who makes no apologies for who she is in the world. She's fat, she's bisexual, she hasn't come out to any of her friends, and I thought it was really great to see that sort of representation in a book. She's a really snarky character as well. At a few points I found that I had a few problems with what she said to other people in the series. Like, for example, she tells off this girl Molly for making a racist comment, but then she like holds a grudge against her for the whole book. The book keeps on circling back to it. I thought it was great that she confronted her, don't get me wrong, because not a lot of people do that. But then like for the book to keep on holding on to this one comment for no good reason, it was sort of hard to believe at times. I did find that there were a few things that were a stretch as well. For example, like she goes off at this other character who's also discovering their bisexuality and their identity and what they're comfortable with. Anyway, I talk about that further in my full review that I'll link down below on the blog. So I enjoyed this one. It was great seeing Simon and Blue after the fact as well, but yeah, a few problems with Leah's character. So I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. The next book that I read is Brightsiders by Jen Wilde, and this one is an ebook that I picked up for OzYA Tonight on ABC Radio, which is a monthly segment that I'm a part of, and we talk about 2 Aussie YA books every month. But basically Brightsiders is about a teenage rock star who has to deal with paparazzi and social media, and also an alcoholic problem, and it's about learning about herself and her identity. I really liked how she's a bisexual character as well, because I found like it flowed really nicely, and like she has a lot of pressure on her plate, especially as she's figuring out herself and her role in this world. I really like the representation in the Brightsiders, and I really enjoyed the story. It was heavily centered around music and around paparazzi and social media, but I did find it a bit young though, because obviously some of the character reactions and like it was a big romance as well. Like it centered heavily on the romance, so it's about like a bisexual girl, but she has a straight relationship, so it fights a lot of the misconceptions that it has with that. So that I really liked. I also really liked how it was about finding her family outside of her direct family. There are some clear villains in the book, so obviously her parents try and just use her for money making, and they're actually really terrible parents. And her girlfriend at the start as well, she uses her as well. It's like she gets treated really badly, and I just didn't enjoy that at all. Overall, I gave Brightsiders 3 stars. I think it's a great diverse read about bisexuality, but yeah, I guess, you know, it's about rock and roll, coming of age, finding yourself. It's a bit of a younger read for me. Here we go, now onto the books that I didn't enjoy so much, and the first one is A Court of Frost and Starlight. Guys, I haven't talked about this one yet in too much detail. I read this on the plane on the way back to Brisbane, but oh my gosh, it reads like bad fan fiction. And not even the fan fiction that you want to read, but just like horrible sex scenes. Characters like just don't resemble themselves anymore, and it just basically has no plot at all. I mean, Feyre just goes around talking about how rich she is and how privileged she is and how they have so much money. She complains about her period pain as a, you know, Fae female. Oh man, like it's like every single character that I had actually started liking in Aka War, I started hating in A Court of Frost and Starlight. It was just terrible. So I think I'll give this one 2 stars. It was great seeing the characters like not having a big war to go to, but it just felt like such a filler novel that we didn't need and that was badly written. So next up I have A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Obviously, this is the 3rd book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Basically, I just did a massive rant about this one. I'll have that video up soon. But oh my gosh guys, I have such beef with this novel. There are so many things that are wrong with it. I felt like it was anti-feminist. I felt like Feyre was like a really big special snowflake. I felt like Rhys was so over the top with his carelessness, and I just didn't love it. I didn't love the mating bond. I did like the writing though. I think Sarah J. Maas writes really nicely, but this was definitely not my favorite of the series, and I gave it 2 stars. So I'll make sure to link you guys to that rant review once it's up, but trust me, it goes on for a while. I think it's 20 minutes. I've just edited it and oh gosh, it's such a hot mess. So here's all the books that I managed to read during May. I guess it was an okay month for me. There was some that I really enjoyed, some I really didn't enjoy, and overall it was just a great reading month, I think. So that is my May wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. Thanks guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.